YouTube, Pictures by Schoolboy back again. Welcome to another video. So in today's video, we are going to retouch this beauty image shot by an amazing photographer called Alexander Croft. I came across this image on Instagram. He has a dedicated raw file Instagram page, and I got to download this picture. It's free. So today, this is the picture that we are going to retouch. This is something I haven't done on the channel before, and I'm very excited about it. So before we get started, please make sure to subscribe for amazing content every week. And don't forget to turn on your post notification bell to get notified anytime I put up a new video. Alright. So the first thing that we are going to do is to perform our frequency separation to smoothing out the skin and the skin tones. So that's what we are going to do now. So I'm going to duplicate the background layer and then go through the normal frequency separation steps, because I've tried filming this video several times, but my PC wasn't cooperating, so I had to reset my PC and a whole lot. So I think I've lost some of my actions and a whole lot, but I'm going to record them again, and I'm going to use them in other videos. But in today's video, we are going to go through the normal frequency separation steps and do the frequency separation. So I think I'm going to use 12 for the radius, because I think 12 is fine. It hides most of the blemishes on the skin. So we are going to use 12, and then I'll select OK. I'll hit OK. So I'll turn on my first layer, and then image, apply image, and then I will select the down layer and change my blend mode from multiply to subtract, and then make sure my scale is 2, and then my offset is 128. So this is how it's going to look like. I'm sure you probably know how frequency separation is if you are watching this video, so I'm not going to waste much time on it. So I'm done with it, and we are going to start. So I'm going to select my lasso tool and start with this side of the skin and see the radius that we are going to use for her skin. I might perform the frequency separation action over again for the rest of her body, because maybe I would want more textures on her body as compared to her face. So it's going to depend when we get there. So let's move on. So let's see the blur that I'm going to use for the face. I'm going to use a higher blur radius in order to smoothen out all these grudges and blemishes on her face. So I think I'm going to do 50, and I think 50 is fine. So I'll select OK, and as you can see right here, it left some marks right here. So I have to redo it again, and this time set my feather to 10. So I'm going to put 10 for my feather. Let me do a 20, and apply the blur again and see if those lines comes again. So as you can see, the lines are still there. So the best thing to do is to select and mask, and then that is where I'm going to do the feather. So I'm going to do 10 for the feather here, and I think it's going to work right here other than the top here. So let's apply the blur again and see how it does this time round. Yeah, so as you can see, we can't see any edges again. Alright, so I'm going to continue with the rest of the face and remove some of these blemishes with the clone stamp tool, and then I'm going to get back to you guys on the color grading. I hope you are enjoying this video and you are learning something new. Alright guys, so I think I'm done with her face right now. Finished removing the blemishes, and I think it looks amazing. So what we are going to do now is to move on to the rest of the body. But before we go, let me show you a quick before and after of her face. So here is the before and here is the after. Before and after. Alright, so we are going to do this together. I'm not going to skip this part, but I think we are going to use a different radius for her skin. So we are going to, the lasso tool is already selected, so we are going to go ahead and start marking our areas and see the radius that we are going to do. So let's do 40 and see, or 35. Let me do 35 and see. If it's small, I'm going to add more. I think 35 is fine, but for this part I'm going to increase the blur just a little bit to, let's say, 37 and see how well it does. So let's increase it to 37 and see how well it does. Yeah, I think 37 is alright. A little close to 40. Looks natural. I'm really excited about this video. I haven't retouched a beauty image like this before. I know I've retouched some couple of images on this channel, but nothing like this. Yeah, so I'm done, and here is the before and after. So I'm going to remove, there are some little blemishes right here, and I'm going to take them off with the clone stamp tool as well. So I'm going to sorry, I'm going to hold Alt, click here, and then I'm going to take it away. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so I think I'm done, and it looks amazing. So what I'm going to do now is to bring the opacity down just a little bit to 95, and then go ahead and merge the layers. So it's now time for color grading. So I have a lot that I'm going to use for the picture. I made the lot, and it has more cold colors in it, and this picture tends to be a little cold, so I think it's going to work a little bit more well with this image. So let's try it and see. Let's open up the lot and see how well it works with this image. If it doesn't work absolutely fine, we are going to make just some little adjustments and see how it turns out. Oh, where is the desktop? Yeah, here is it. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to LUT, and then here is it. Alright, so as you can see, it looks too cold, and I don't think I like it this way. But I like the skin color that it has given to her skin though. So what we are going to do is to add just a little bit reds and yellows to her skin to kind of differentiate the skin from the background. I still want to have the cold touch to the background, but then have a different touch to her skin tone. So we are going to open the selective color and then pull down our cyans of the reds to add a little more reds to her skin tones, and then raise up the yellows just a little bit to add a little yellow to the skin tone as well. So I think about here is fine. Here is a before and after. As you can see, she has a little more reds and yellows in her skin right now, and it's making it look a little more appealing at first. So here is the before and here is the after. Yeah, so what we are going to do next is to open the hue and saturation adjustment layer, and then since there are some blues on her scarf and yellows, I think we are going to go to the yellows first and then add a little bit of saturation to the yellows, and then change the hue of the yellows just a little bit to change up the color of the skin tone. So if I do it too much, you see, oh sorry, I'm going to do this on the reds, since the skin contains the reds. So we are going to increase the saturation just about here, and then change up the hue just a little bit. As you can see, if I play with the hues, it's messing up the skin tone, so it's something I don't want to apply too much. So let's start from 0 and then see. I think 7 is fine. So let's move on to the blues and add a little bit of blue. So as you can see, if I pull my saturation up, the background becomes more bluish, and a little bit of her hair. So I think I'm going to leave the blues on 30, and I think 30 is okay. So let's do other colors too. Let's add saturation to other colors, and continue. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is to change the color of her eye just a little bit. It's yellow right now. I want to make it a little bit more red, just to complement her lips. So what I'm going to do now is to create another hue and saturation adjustment layer, and this time I'm going to play with the hue of the master, since the master affects the entire colors of the image. That's what we are going to do right now. So I think I'm going to bring it down just a little bit around here, and then I'm going to invert the layer. Always have in mind that in Photoshop, white reveals and black hides. So it's revealing right now because the layer is white, but if I invert it and change it into black, it's going to hide the adjustment that we just made. So I'll hit Ctrl I to invert it, and it just hid it. So I'm going to select my brush tool, and then I'm going to select my soft rounded brush. Just select the soft rounded brush, and then I'm going to make sure my foreground color is white since I want to review, and then I'll brush on her eye just to review the adjustment that we just did only on her eye, just to change the color of the eyeball a little bit. Yeah, so I think we are done. Here is a before and after. It's not really a huge improvement, but it's quite good. Yeah. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to add a little bit of depth to the shadows. So I'm going to open the curves adjustment layer, and I'm going to add just a little. I think 15 is fine. Yeah. So I'm going to hit C on my keyboard to select the crop tool, and I'm going to change the ratio to the Instagram aspect ratio, which is 4:5, and then I'm going to crop the image. Yeah, so I think it looks amazing right now, but I want to add a little more reds and yellows to her skin tone. So what I'm going to do is to open the selective color again, and I'm going to go to the yellows and see what I can do there. So I'm going to add just a little bit of yellows, and I'm going to add a little bit of blacks too. Or just a little bit, and just a little bit of yellows, and let's see what the cyan does. I think I'm going to leave it on 0. Yeah. Alright, so the final thing that we are going to do right now is to go to our color balance and try to balance the highlights, the shadows, and the midtones just a little bit, and then we are going to sharpen the image, and I think that will be it. Yeah, so let's go to the color balance and start with the shadows. I always start with the shadows followed by the highlight before the midtones, since the midtones lies in between the shadows and the highlight. I prefer to do that one last, because if I do the midtones first, I'm basically playing with the highlights and the shadows. So I'm going to start with the shadows, and I'm going to add more reds. I think +5 is fine, and then I'm going to add a little bit of blues to the shadows, and then I'll move on to my highlights and add a little bit of cyans and a little bit of blues too, and then I'm going to move on to the midtones, and let's see what we can do here. I think I'm going to add more reds and a little bit of yellows. Yeah, so I think I'm done with the overall image, and it's now time to it's now time to sharpen the image. So I'm going to sharpen the eyes and the lips, because that's where I want most of the viewers' attention to be. So let's see a quick before and after of what we just did. I think it looks nice. It's not too bad though. I like the way her eyeball turned out. Yeah. So I'm going to create a stamp visible layer by hitting Shift Control plus E. Shift Control Alt plus E. Yeah. And then create a stamp visible layer, and then I'm going to convert it into a smart object and follow the rest of the steps. If you want to know how I sharpen my images and crop for Instagram, I have a video down there. Yeah, so make sure you check out my Photoshop tutorials playlist, and you find that video. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of sharpness. Let's do 3.5. A little bit of sharpness to her eyes, and then we call it a day. So I'm going to create a stamp visible layer, invert it once again to hide the sharpness from the entire image, and then select my brush tool, soft rounded brush tool, and then brush on the eye. Make sure my foreground color is white. Brush on the eye to reveal the sharpness only, on her eye. Yeah, so I think it looks amazing. Let's do just a little on her lips here, and I think we are done. Yeah. So here's the before and after of what we've done today, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. So if you learned something new, you already know. Consider subscribing. Yeah. So that will be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. I'll try as much as possible to bring you amazing content just like this each and every week. I've been facing a whole lot of challenges with my PC lately, but I'm always trying my possible best to, solve it and keep on creating amazing content for you guys. Yeah, so that will be the end. If you have any video in mind you would like to see me make a tutorial about, make sure you leave the thoughts in the comment section, your thoughts in the comment section down below, and then I'll see you in the next one.